Story once again tonight. The government saying they found there was a, quote, lack of candor with court from juror number 6. Walk us through what the prosecutors see at issue here. What does lack of candor mean, obviously, in this case?
Well, lack of candor can mean a lot of things, and it's not so much just the lack of candor that's relevant. Is there a substantial misconduct, for example? Is this juror grossly unqualified? So the devil is literally in the details, or proverbially in the details, better stated. What did he misrepresent, if anything? He's a 46-year-old black man. Is that a racial bias? Is there a race-neutral reason why they want to get rid of him? Certainly the defense is going to argue somewhat like what we call a Batson challenge, if the case was just beginning and jury selection had just started, that this is not race neutral. This is because of his race. But again, those details are going to be critically important. And I'd look to, is there substantial misconduct or is he grossly unqualified? Is there some significant lie and misrepresentation?
Jeremy, but does this send a signal that maybe the government is worried about their case?
You know, I wouldn't overread it in terms of them being worried about their case, but there's something that they're concerned about involving this juror. And there's so much up to interpretation because we simply don't know. We do know that this is just going to be another, I'll say, opportunity for the defense to say, you know what? You're biasing this jury. You're taking the wrong steps. There needs to be a mistrial, and we're going to make that request. Certainly, if the judge decides to remove the juror, and if the judge decides to do so, I remind people that there are alternate jurors, and an alternate juror, whoever's next in line, will take that juror's place, juror 6.
So I got to ask you, right? We had some issues. Chloe Molas was reporting about a female juror who was looking a lot at Sean Diddy Combs during the trial, maybe making some weird facial gestures. The judge admonished Diddy, I think it was last week, threatening to kick him out of the trial. And now you have this. I mean, is this all setting up for a mistrial?
Yeah, certainly it's going to be part of in their quiver of arrows. They're certainly going to do that. And remember, too, there was an issue that the defense raised in reference to Kid Cudi and the fingerprints about maybe making it seem as if Combs had something to do with the destruction of those records. So you're laying the foundation of your defense. It's not necessarily anything overwhelming, but brick by brick, just as the prosecution is trying to brick by brick build this criminal enterprise, the defense is brick by brick trying to destruct this case or take it down and go for that mistrial if they can't win on the merits.
Jeremy, I always like to ask attorneys, legal experts who are following this case what they think. What do you think? Will Diddy beat this case, or does it look like the government is going to prosecute him, or I guess convict him?
Right. You know, when you have these situations, a win is not necessarily a win for the defense, meaning even if the jury, even if the prosecution can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that RICO piece, that life in prison, the criminal enterprise, that structure, there's still a major risk to a 55-year-old man, or any man for that matter, to be convicted on that lesser charge, and I use my air quotes here, because you're facing 15 years or more in prison on the sex trafficking and up to 10 years on the prostitution charge and transportation. So he can win, meaning Diddy, but he can lose. So it's not all black and white.
Okay. Jeremy, we thank you for your analysis tonight. We're back in a moment with the rest you caught on camera.